Is that going to reach?
Development standards.
Is that right? It's not residential, commercial lot.
Yeah, the MRC.
One second. Okay, I found it. Anyway, so is everyone ready? All right.
Oh, yep, turn the mics.
Okay, meeting call to order at 7 minutes after 7 p.m. And we'll start with roll call. Wendy Walton,
Here?
Brian James.
Here.
And Brett Bennett is here. First order, new business is we're doing Forest Meadows, Lot 3, 119 Sage Brush Lane. So applicants here, do you want to, if you've prepared anything, I'd say have at it. Okay.
All right, so we've done a mock-up of a potential pop-out and elevation change to this building to give it a little more character.
So this is different than what we're seeing?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys had any thoughts or opinions on that.
It looks like the color of the siding has changed too, so it's obviously there's the black stripe.
Yeah, so colors right now, we did white and blue, right?
Light gray.
Light gray.
The light gray is better.
Yep,
It's just warmer than the white,
yep.
a little less industrial.
So we're not 100% set on colors just yet. We've kind of gone back and forth. This is a potential, so we do have options that way as well.
Got it. And then do you have anything to add on the site plan? Or do you have that up on your? And what is the, I see the brown, the pink.
So up along the back, we've got landscaping to comply with Town of Alpine code. We've got 2,600 square feet.
Okay, so it's your 10% minimum, is that site area? I mean, that's LUDC stuff, I think we'll talk about, what we're
So-
getting at is buffering for and screening
Yeah.
the parking.
So we've got 3,000 square feet, 3,024 square feet of landscaping. We have 1,219 square feet for snow storage. Then we have 6,288 square feet for parking.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any trees or are we talking irrigated lawn, or what's the intent for the landscaping?
So we didn't put a lot of that together only because this is gonna be done in like December.
Uh-huh,
And since we're getting the majority of, we're doing this with SBA, so trying to get what they need for it first.
So all the people at home can hear. There you go.
There is
Yeah.
not a set landscaping plan,
sure.
but I most definitely want landscaping, so I want it to happen.
Okay,
So no plan as of right now, but yes, I don't want it to look like an automotive shop that someone doesn't want to come to.
yeah,
I want it to look like you're coming to some sort of storefront, and especially since we've got apartments above it, people are going to be living there. I don't want it to just be concrete, like.
Understood.
We don't have plans, but it will happen.
But my take on it is we don't have a plant number, so to speak, or tree number, but all I would say is that you plant trees or taller shrubs to screen the parking areas.
Okay,
And that doesn't mean you have to have a tree every 6 feet. But we are starting with a new set of guidelines here,
okay,
and you are our first official applicant.
okay.
And maybe you know this.
Yep.
Okay. So I see, first of all, you put together a great package. I saw in the packet that you had a full set, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got just about everything you need for a town permit. Have you submitted for a permit yet?
Yes, we
Okay.
have.
So I think landscaping is, or trees to screen the parking, right? Because we say landscaping, that can be grass to meet the 10% requirement.
I don't want just grass. I want
Okay.
trees. It is
Okay.
a tax write-off for me and I want to utilize it. So-
Okay, so I see some,
I mean, this is a
You've-
good mock-up
yep.
of kind of like, you know, trees and stuff in the background.
yep. And do we have, okay, you have a vicinity map there. Is there any way you can zoom in? I'm just trying to figure out exactly where we're at.
It's about right across from the gas station.
So, it would be south or it'd be west side of 26? Is that across the street from
Across from KJ's.
KJ's? Yeah, I still call it
Like the-
KJ's
the
too.
little-
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
little
right
drift
there.
boat place is in front of it.
So right there is KJ's,
Okay,
and then it's right.
Oh,
It's where the drift boat place used to
okay,
be.
I got it now, thanks. Okay, so I
And
would.
the
yeah,
garage doors face the highway, correct?
No.
No, they face north to
So they face
the little
towards the
road
red
that
pin.
goes in. Because it's like its own little, I don't know, like cul-de-sac-y kind of. The main road comes in and then there's a little one off of it. We're in the back lot that's closest to the Hawthorne that just went up.
Okay.
Whatever that hotel's called.
Okay. So,
So the front elevation is the north elevation. Rear
So-
elevation with the stairs would be facing south, correct?
Right there would be the side facing the highway.
Yep, and the rear would be facing the emergency room.
got it. Okay, so the
And
east
then-
elevation
The right,
is
it's
the,
labeled right. No,
or be the
the
left.
left elevation.
So that's the one we would see from 26, or
Yep.
how do you enter your property? Is it off of a
So-
subdivision road or?
There's a subdivision road right along here.
Okay,
I do have the utility plans as well for this, if that helps get a better picture of the subdivision.
Yeah.
So that road comes in here, and then it comes in and it tees right here, so there's another lot here. And then there's another lot on this other side, and we are basically in the middle.
okay. And then does is this a, like Nucor or someone like that? Pre-engineered metal building?
Yes, it'll
Yeah.
be a pre-engineered
So-
metal building.
Does it cost money to change the siding color with them? Or is it more just coordination?
Nope, as long as we do it before we order the building
Yeah.
package, that's not a
Because
huge deal.
I'm wondering if, so what you did on where the red truck is, you got the black or charcoal band going up.
Yep.
I'm wondering, just thinking out loud, to help, since we're gonna see that east elevation from 26, what if you did that on 3 sides? Does that make sense? Just to
mean,
break it
we're-
up.
So part of the problem we're fighting is we started this process in January.
Yep,
As Katie mentioned, we're tied into an SBA loan. We've already put a budget together.
yep,
And have kind of gone down the road with this.
yep,
So we're trying to keep our costs down as much as possible and see what we can do with you guys. So, I mean,
One thing that does play into that side is that is the first side that you see when you're pulling up. Because like as you're going highway.
okay,
you
from
pull
the
off.
road, yep.
Yeah, you pull off and then you come into a T and we are back here. So it is that the side that is on is actually facing where you pull up to it.
Understood. We're looking at the big blank walls. That's the only thing there. The side with the stair, that already gets broken up with the stair. And I'm just, and so we're talking about massing. And I see you added a canopy over the front door. The initial reaction, to this one, I agree that looks better, and thanks for that effort.
Yep.
I'm just saying that, is there any consideration for a canopy across more of that facade? Because I know that would address the massing concern. And then the materials, we can make suggestions but I'm just thinking what you did on what we're calling the front facade, if you did that on the sides, that doesn't add cost. The canopies, obviously, of course they do, but I think this goes against what the town has approved here by having a large blank facade. That's all I can say.
Okay.
So let me pull up another example of something we were considering as well. If we do a full corner, we would like to not pop it out because the colors themselves will create the depth in it. So instead of having that pop out centered in the middle, we would consider just moving stuff to that corner, kind of like this, and giving it a different look.
Got it. And so does that one pop out, or is it just a changed material? I see the foundation wall looks like it's all kind of flush, right?
Yeah, so that's just kind of that's all one.
And the height's a little different than.
Yep, the height's a little bit
Yeah.
taller. So, and it's actually not taller, it matches the high side. And then as your roof slopes down, your pop out, your accent stays level to give it that depth.
That seems like a really efficient way to
It's super simple, kind of
break it up,
creates,
and it gives it a three-dimensional quality too, because it's on the corner. And that element occupies two elevations, which is what you're after, to break up the second elevation.
Yeah, so which corner, would it be one corner of the building if you went this road or this route?
The one you'd pull into, so it'd be the side where the office door is, as well as the front bay door.
it would be,
that one?
yep, right
Okay.
there.
All right.
So if you were concerned about having both sides showing something, that's a great option.
Yep.
That's kind of all in one with keeping costs down as well.
Right. And this creates its own little, like, parapet, right? The roof it's the same roof behind this corner. You have a parapet that goes up. So the reason I got the LUDC out is that the land use code, I noticed your building doesn't have overhangs. Is that?
No. We do on the back
only
side
on the
over the
back.
stairs.
Yes. So the roof
we do not
structure shall
have
not
these.
extend less than 18 inches from the exterior of the walls of the building. That's something that should come up during the plan review. So how?
You're saying that's not a DRC thing?
It's
an
well,
town of Alpine.
there's some overlap because the overhangs will break it up, but it's in the land use code. And you would not be required to have overhangs where you have a parapet like that, the black
Okay.
or the charcoal. Does that make sense? So those can run up, and that's my take on it. So that's, but I would ask, this is planning and zoning and plan review. I'm just trying to give you a heads up.
Right.
So ask them, but as far as I know, you're required to have 18-inch minimum overhangs, or eaves, rather, and that would change what you have a bit. But what do you guys think about the corner versus a canopy or on that front facade? That the canopy can be engaged in the wall. It doesn't have to be a footing and a foundation and a post. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's just two thoughts. So we're trying to figure out how to
Yes.
find some options.
It's also changes the direction of the siding too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the canopy, as you suggested, is nice to run the entire length. And that's what we'd be after in terms of breaking up the massing. But we're also needing to save costs here, and I respect that you guys started way back before we established these. And so I want to help you guys save costs too. And so I think that the corner option,
So if
Is
you
like-
have the corner, you don't need the overhang?
That's my
Or-
understanding. Just double check with
Yeah.
DJ and planning and zoning, Gina.
Yeah,
might
I'll
know.
double check.
Yeah. So where the parapet runs up, that's just where the wall runs above the roof line there, like you see in that one. Then my understanding is you are not required to have an overhang, but on the other portions of the roof, you would have to project out 18 inches on.
So the back would be covered, and then the
Yeah, the back's
other
covered.
side would not have an overhang. That would be the only spot that.
Yeah, so if you went with that, for example, in that corner option, you'd have to be minimum 18 inches on all sides that are currently shown flush. And I understand the pre-engineered metal building, aspect, but I know they do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Like I said, that's not the issue. We
Yeah.
just started this
Yeah.
before all of this.
yep,
Yeah.
And thought we had applied and,
yep.
So
Well,
would it
that
only
one's
be
been in
on-
there a long time. I just want to give you a heads up on it.
Would that only be on the one side then, that does not have, like, it's facing our lot, it's not facing?
So if you went with the corner, the parapet, that would cover two of the sides.
Well, it probably
Well-
was 2 corners, not the full
Two-
side, though.
Oh,
So your corner would be something like this, if I just had hatch this area. It'd be that corner, right?
Yeah.
Then you would need 18 inches here,
Oh.
here,
Oh, okay.
And all the way around.
and then on the other side, they'd probably pick up this side. But if this roof, how are you on your building height? Do you have some room?
How are you?
35 feet?
How are you?
Hello,
Sorry, I'm Brian.
Blake, nice to meet you.
Brett, good to meet you.
I'm Wendy, hi.
Yeah.
The other thing to consider, if it is just a change in materials and it doesn't add cost, is what if you did a wainscot around the whole thing in one material?
yes, so we considered that as well, but I didn't know if that would be enough.
It might be. I think it's worth talking about at least. And you could do both. You could do the corner that's full height, and that signifies your entry too. And that's your main entry, right?
Yes. Or, well, no, on the side,
On this side?
yes.
Okay. But if you had this and then ran,
Yeah,
that really helps to break it up too.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I think you're picking that up. It's just, we're just trying to break it up.
Yeah, not make it look
And
like a
maybe it
blob.
stops there, maybe it stops at these upper windows, I don't know.
How you doing?
Good, how are
Did-
you?
So you drive over from Rexburg?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, apologizing.
that's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, look, he's got big plans.
I've worked with Ben in your office before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's because he's the expert.
And so we were just talking about
God.
mainly site trees buffering, and then we got into the building. Right now, we're mainly talking about skin or canopies,
Okay.
because I feel like what you did is a great step in the right direction.
Yes.
But I know that, so the problem comes if we don't have some relief on that facade, then we would be setting that precedent for future structures to be able to skin it without any true projection. How wide is your building?
60 feet.
60 feet? So I know there's some so what happens when we overlap LUDC and, the modules? Did you read about the modules in the commercial part? Yeah.
30 foot.
Yes, exactly, with no module over 50. I think that this would definitely, like, the corner and/or the wainscot, some combination of that, I think everyone agrees that would look good. I just don't know if the front facade seems like it needs something. And I would not, no one's going to say add square footage. Structurally speaking, can the frame just handle cantilevered canopy support as is, or does that add more framing? I realize it's got the connections and the whole structure of the canopy, but like if it's hanging from struts or braced below with braces.
I mean, it definitely, it definitely can be done, and built into the design of the building.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're trying to keep cost-effective options. Those canopies get really expensive really quick, because you change the load of the building with them.
You're talking about a roof canopy? Extending the roof out, or are you talking
mean,
about extending the floor joists?
Do you see the canopy above their entry door there by the red truck? I'm just imagining something that goes over the garage doors to add some relief to that elevation. That's
But you're saying it's something that's attached to the side of the building?
yeah, almost. It can hang the way that one is, but it would be bigger over the doors. And what I'm trying to get a sense is, You know, if we had another building come in that was even bigger, and they say, well, you approved this without any projection whatsoever, how do we handle that?
Is there a requirement for a minimum projection?
No, so this is, we have massing language, you know, to break up the facade, and the intent is just to how to handle the large blank walls. And so I know that the materials help a lot. And how deep is the building? You said 60 feet this way,
We're 50 deep with a 10-foot rear.
okay? So as far as I know, the LUDC modules are nothing over 50 or nothing over an average of 30.
Yeah, so our sides are 50.
Yeah.
Our center's 30 in the middle and 15 on the wings.
Okay. Well, we can always let them deal with that part, and that's been solved with siding in the past.
If we could do more on like the wainscot, is that what it's called? Because to me, I don't love the look of a canopy. It just, like, I would rather see a color on a building versus a canopy, only because it makes it look super old building, and I'd like it to look more of like a modern,
Yeah.
not, I don't know how much of a difference that would make as far as your guys goes.
You know, the canopy is an idea to get some relief on that elevation. It doesn't mean it has to be a canopy, but I don't know how else to do it. I wouldn't want to say, oh, add, you know, stepping the walls would break it up, but then I think our conversation about cost is probably gonna grow. So we're not talking about changing your footprint,
Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
So this, the original with the
So-
stripe is actually a bump out of sorts, or no?
A little bit, I mean, you get a little
It's
bit
just
of
like they're
change.
just furring it out. So you're not changing the structure at all, right? You're just furring it out.
That would represent some bump out, right? Would it be a 6-inch? or so
Yeah, it's a-
bump out?
I can't remember, yeah, that one's a little bit of a pop out there. So this is one we've done in the past where your two sides are run horizontal and your center is run vertical. And I mean, this is might be a little darker gray than what we're going with, but it's pretty similar.
That adds quite a bit in terms of
It,
breaking
Yeah.
up.
seeing it on the plans doesn't do it justice seeing it on the
But just
building.
having that shadow, that much of a shadow line really helps.
Yep. I agree, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, something like that, like, if we can go on like a more modern side of something, I just think canopies, and I think really old school town, we're trying to not do that. But if it
And
has
that,
to
I
be on
mean,
the,
so whether you do the corner piece, so we have three options, right? We have the center stripe, like you've shown in the rendering. We have the corner piece, and then we have the corner with the wainscot.
Yep.
If you did the wainscot, could you maintain that same depth all the way around? I mean, it creates a little bit of a ledge on top. It adds a little bit of cost, but
I mean, yeah,
it really does break up the
we
entire.
could fur it out.
The wainscot would address the side elevations. Because you don't have a lot of windows, right? And I know you don't have like a minimum window requirement, but that would help a lot. If it wrapped all the way around and popped up at the corner. But I guess the hardest part is how do we address future buildings? They say, okay, you can do it with just a change of material, which is great, but there's no projection, there's nothing like, there's no relief. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm hearing that these guys started way earlier and they're already through the process. I think next
Yeah.
time, people will start with
Sketch plan?
the new
Yeah.
guidelines in the sketch plan.
Yeah,
That's a great
that's,
point.
that's really where we're at, you know, this, if we sat down at the get-go, yeah,
Right.
everything's possible, it's not hard to do, but we're
Yeah.
just, we're so far along in our process. She's already basically funded the loan as we sit because
Yeah.
we were told, hey, this will work. So,
And my understanding is legally, it's not precedent setting, what we do here. Now, in practice, somebody's gonna come and say that, but
Oh, I see what you mean. But Brian, you have a great point. I mean, when did you submit to the town? Like, okay, when did you submit for a building permit or,
do you want the drama version?
okay, so, but it was,
it's been, what,
Yeah.
2 months since we originally
Yeah.
submitted an application, but we were told various things and it never got pushed through. And the lady who was working on our application lost her job, and we kinda had to start over.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just trying to get order of magnitude and,
yep, so that's kinda where we're
Yeah.
at, so
I
we,
think, and that's how we explain it, if it comes up in the future. This
Yeah.
was a bit of a different
Well,
process.
I think you should get it on the record from Gina, that from the town of Alpine side, what happened.
Well, my understanding is from our LUDC and even our applications process that it's not a complete application until the building permit fees have all been paid, your water connection fees, and we have a set of plans. So when you were told that by the previous person, I don't think that that was necessarily accurate information, and I know that's not your fault, but that's kind of where we stand as the town. And that's why they're in this situation that they're in
Yeah.
right now, where they are going in front of the design review committee as opposed to what they were told they were going to have to be, so.
I understand. So, is your understanding that you were getting in before the DRC was official? Is that what I'm hearing, or?
Yes, and that we took whatever the standards were at the time to do the plans with, so that way, because I think it was 3 months, 2 or 3 months ago that we asked previous person, like, here's our base set, what do we need to do, what do you need to
What do we
see
need to
before it
change?
goes
yeah.
to the final stages.
So
of
you were
getting
working on
everything
what
done.
was technically
Yes, yes.
in the books at that point.
And we're willing and ready to pay the permit application and connection fees if they've been presented to us.
Okay, well, our board, I was just trying to get the background, and our board's not about the connection fees and everything, but you were coordinating prior, and then our board became official, and here you are. Then I would say, you know, given your situation, maybe the best answer is recommend some projection here, but, I don't know if we can require it. I mean, I don't know if that's the right approach here. Trying to put myself in your shoes as well, but I do think we gotta have the trees, you talked about that, and we have to have, these facades broken up.
Do you
and-
guys like the corner better than the front?
The corner looks great in the other image. I assume it'll look equal on this building.
Because I do get that on like that side, that highway sees, and the corner does help with that, that like you actually
Yeah.
do see something then.
It addresses 2 facades. I think it makes it more three-dimensional.
So, I know this is kind of rough, but do you imagine that the corner wrap would basically go to that jam?
Or would it?
Trying to think.
Either
That's
that,
really
James,
just
or-
a preference thing.
Yeah,
Like, I would imagine we either split the difference for looks
yeah,
and then match it around there, or we go to that door.
Sure.
One or the other.
but then you would run a parapet
Yeah.
up, or if you, for your framing, if you decide to do, if I'm right about this overhang business, and you need 18 inches all the way around, the back already has a big overhang, then that material could either run up to the bottom of the soffit, or you could run it up like a parapet, like your image, I think, either way.
I mean, I prefer the corner, and I also like the idea of the wainscoting than around the other sides.
And this is a
combo.
picture of one we've done with the wainscot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no depth on it. That is So it's not, the way we do wainscot, we're not overlapping sheets. We're not just changing the color. You get a break in.
Right.
Like
But
a-
yeah, there's
top to
flashing
bottom.
between.
There's flashing
Yeah.
that breaks it up.
Okay. Would you consider wainscot, because it's the same material cost, just a color?
Yeah.
Are you the?
It adds a little bit, but
Yeah.
not very much.
Are you the are you the contractor supplying the building, or what's?
Yes,
Yeah.
all the above.
And so the height of that wainscot, on this building, what do you think about picking up top of the doors or something? Or, because if you just go 3 or 4 feet, it might not have the same effect. And, you got to see it drawn up, but still, I'm just trying to find a way to address.
So typically, when we do a wainscot, you have your horizontal members, your Z-girts running across.
Yeah.
We like to pick a line, because otherwise you add costs in adding a breaking point, so we
Yeah.
usually pick a breaking point. We usually have one at 4 feet, we have one at 7 foot above the doors, and then they're typically 5 to 7 feet, every 5 to 7 feet. So we
Okay.
like to pick, if you're gonna go rough height, we say, let's stick to that height, so.
Okay. All right, well, I would say it would look best to line up with something.
Yeah,
I understand, because your grid is more random, but that's gonna be permanently reflected on the outside. It'd probably look a lot better if it either lands on his girt or,
Is there any flexibility in where the Z-gird goes?
I mean,
Like if we knew we wanted to try to align with the top of the tall door.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there
We
is a
just
little
place it
bit,
there.
but.
let's just say you'd end up adding a Z-girt all the way around, worst case, right? But,
And then you still do the canopies over the man doors? Like you're showing in the renderings? Because that helps with the depth too.
yeah, they're showing
Even-
one
Even though
here.
they're small,
right?
and they're super functional there too, snow country,
Are you showing them on this door? Yes, right?
and the other one,
And this one?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, is this,
Part of the reason I was late, we may as well
yeah,
use them.
need to wait for the ink to dry. So, yeah, I mean,
I mean, if those are there already, can they grow at an efficient cost?
Well, you typically expect the awning over the openings. And those awnings are already fairly large for the size of doors they're covering.
And there, it's on the office side and the front. This is the other side
Okay.
do we need to have one on this door also?
So we're gonna circle back to that conversation about, you've been in this process for a while. You've already got a loan, you've submitted a permit to the town. I'm trying to find the best answer, so I think anything you can add to the facade, yes.
Because we originally didn't have these either, and just to give you an idea of cost,
Yeah,
just supplying the materials were $4 to $5 grand per just little overhang that we're doing. So that's why I say
Yeah.
if we would have started this,
Yeah.
we budgeted it, it would have been just fine, but we've already locked in a loan is where we're really
Yeah.
butting up to a corner here.
well, I would say, like, for what we're talking about tonight, this works well, what you've done here, you got a canopy there, you've broken this up, but the concern would be this, and then this is broken up because it has all that stair structure and the deck. So I think my gut feeling is either wainscot around, keep this, but wainscot around the building, or do the corner concept, but
Or both.
yeah, I mean,
It
I
might
think
look
those
better
would,
in that sense of keeping this one and then do the wainscot off of it,
Yeah.
and then around the sides of the building.
Yeah,
in
if it-
unison.
if it wraps around the whole building,
The corner would be nice because it would give you somewhere to hang your signage
That's true.
Yeah.
behind it. And
Yeah.
then behind the highway.
And
You
then
see
it's
it
the
from
highway
highway
frontage,
as well
yeah.
as from the entry.
And here is one more since we're going through. This is another option as well. So we've done a band in the top, so that's not just your walls going up, that is actually a 6-inch projection up there
Yep,
that gives you depth up top and around the sides.
okay, I see what you mean.
So,
It's-
for example, doing something like that along the front and cutting back each side is an option as well, if we're looking to break up the sides.
Yeah,
I mean, for us, our square footage cost of doing something like this versus trying to make it longer and kind of go around,
yeah,
but shortening it up would be helpful.
yeah,
So the parapet would be easier than doing the bump out?
Yes, so this is built after the fact.
Yep.
So your building's already up. This
Yeah.
is strictly for looks, not a part of the structure.
got it.
Because this
If-
would be the parapet
Yep.
question, right?
If you're asking my opinion, I think that this with the wainscot around or the corner option we talked about would look better in this case.
I would agree with that.
Well, I can't help but think, you know, you could extend that down. I mean, you could even play with it. You have one of these. Where the upper portion is projected out and the lower portion is
Yeah,
recessed back.
I think, addressing all sides of the building is gonna help, and we're talking about, are you using 26 or 24 gauge?
26 gauge.
26. Have you, you know it's gonna oil can, right?
Not these.
Okay, because the ones I've seen are, they get pretty wavy.
Depends on, there's a lot of factors that go into oil canning.
Okay,
So you've got sizes, you've got whether you've got ribs in it or not, color has a big play on that.
yeah,
But we're not dealing with any flush materials on this,
okay,
so it's a completely different beast.
okay. Just had bad experiences with 26 gauge.
No,
And the
as
24 is
far as-
one step better, but yeah.
Yep. As far as this kind of stuff goes, it's a different class.
Okay,
Here's another breakup to show you as well. This is something we've done in the past. None of these are pop-outs, that is just a color breakup.
got it. Okay, well, I think what, you know,
Toaster.
what we're asking you is to address all four sides. I think that works well, but at least that's my take. How do you feel Brian?
Yeah, I'm liking something like this too, like what you showed, where you added the eyebrow, but maybe that grows so that it really does break up the full facade. And then, when it wraps around, it could come down and signal the entry. That is the entry, right?
I'm not sure
Yes,
which
that
one
would
is
be the
the,
office entry.
yeah,
And then it's easier to fur the upper side out because you don't have to flash it versus the other way around, where you're furring the underside.
yeah.
I guess I
But
would
that
say-
addresses
Oh, go ahead,
all
Brian.
sides. The other thing we're talking about is flipping that upside down, where you have a lower wainscot that wraps all three sides. That we think is cost effective, right? 'Cause
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, doing an upper one is really not that much different either.
I mean, it could create a nice detail around you'd have to, since the windows would be recessed, you'd have to frame around the windows, which would create a nice sculptural depth to it that would help break it up as well. And then you could infill it with accent panels that maybe match the windows.
Yep, but that butts into our whole cost thing. We're trying to stay
Yeah.
cost effective. Any pop out we add is gonna add an immense
right,
cost.
because you're
to our
furring it out,
project. Yep.
right?
You said
Yep.
36 bucks a foot?
36 roughly is what we quote out pop outs at.
By the
So-
time you do the whole facade of the building,
Adds up really quick.
Sure,
Okay.
I mean,
I was
I
just
think-
reacting to that eyebrow.
yeah.
Do you guys kind of get the idea of what we're going for? After having all these examples, the ones you brought, the ones we're talking about? I mean,
I think so.
to me, like Brett said, I like several of these ideas or a combination of them, and that I think if you see what we're going for, you could go back redesign again as you did already for the meeting and, to address all four sides, or the three that aren't
Yeah.
already, since the back has the overhang.
Right, like a wainscot added to that, that's a simple gesture. And yes, you have the perimeter flashing transition, but in the big picture, it's a pretty minimal gesture.
Yep.
Or,
But if you match the color, it would look really, really well if you did a lower wainscot like that. So if you wrapped around matching this same color.
yes. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
just coming around, whether it's here or top of the door.
Top of the door, all the way around, and then, yeah.
I agree. I think it's gonna look best if you align with a door head height.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, just to summarize, we're
Yeah.
gonna move it to the corner. We're gonna add a wainscot around all three sides.
Or we can keep
Keep the
it like
front.
this and just add a wainscot.
I'd say there are two options. Run with, here, can you pull up your corner image? Thanks.
Oh, the picture?
Yes, yeah, you had like a photograph of one you did before. Okay, so, and then are you talking about changing, vertical versus horizontal, or are you keeping everything vertical? Like, I realize,
So if we're doing something like that corner, we might as well just do horizontal.
okay, I guess, yeah, but my only reluctance is these large blank walls. So I think if you did that and the same color wainscot wrapped around the building, it seems like picking, you know, a door head height works best. I don't know if the 6-8 doors, if it's too low, it might not look as good. That's just my personal opinion.
I think it breaks up the building much more effectively if you base it off of the garage door.
Yeah,
Is that a height that it can go at?
Yeah, we can make that work.
And I would say,
The only thing though, if you go 50-50, it kinda defeats the purpose of, at least in my opinion. It almost looks better if if you're just splitting it down the middle, it still looks like a box and it still looks like,
all right.
Rather than having it exactly halfway.
pretty much, which lining it up right about this door is about halfway.
What about, I mean, maybe it looks good if you do that.
The lower doors?
Pick the lower doors, that one just pops through it, whatever. But if you pick, well, how are these 10 or 12s? What are they?
Those are 12s.
Yeah. Okay, so in that case, it'd be a 12-foot wainscot height. My gut feeling is that's gonna look better than the typical 3 or 4 foot in this case. You know, that's just, I know we don't,
How tall are they? Are they like, what, 3 feet, 4 feet for the wainscot?
We do a lot of them at 3 to 4 feet.
yeah. So this corner, let's call it just discussion A. Corner element like that, and then wainscot wrapping around the whole building. Or exactly what you have here, except the same wainscot, wainscot wrapping around the whole building.
So I can measure both ways, KG. and
Okay.
you See what you like better.
Yeah.
And then
Your building looking
the corner or the center element, they both go above the roof height. Is that your,
I think so.
I mean, that one steps up above in the picture, but, and then just get clarification on the eaves from the town, because that will affect your framing, you know, like your whole.
Yep.
Yep. Okay,
and I would say if it costs $35 a square foot to pop everything out, maybe just the corners popped out. You still have the wainscots that wrap around, but they could be flush.
Yep.
Well, I get your friend hat.
Well, I was thinking maybe
Can
the
we
front
turn that
facade
way?
has a taller wainscot, and everything else is lower.
Wish I could draw by
I'm
hand.
not sure if I like that.
yeah, well, that, I mean, I think that would be you know, it's in line with what you're already doing, it's just one little material change to break up the other facades.
And I don't know that the direction has to change. If it's economical to do it one way or the other, I think.
Well, it's-
If this is a vertical thing, it kind of emphasizes that vertical corner.
Yeah, but the Z-girts are set up for vertical always, right? Yeah, so,
Except for a pop-out, because usually we fur it out, so then
okay,
your members are running
Yeah.
perpendicular.
But if you can make a change to the texture like this is doing, like the ribs are totally different in those two materials, that helps.
Yep, so those are flush panels there on that picture.
is that the,
Yeah, the black looks like they're flush,
They're flush with the
and then the
reveal.
white is ribbed, right?
yeah,
Yep, so the white is our standard, they call it PBR
Yeah.
panel. This is a flush panel with a reveal, and it has they just call them ribs running down the middle. That right there is what prevents your oil canning on those sheets.
fair enough, yep.
And I believe we might have done those in 24.
Yeah.
How many different color options are there? Is it like every kind or color?
So sticking with our manufacturer, they have their select colors. So, and we would prefer to stick with them where they're providing the building.
Right,
Right.
yeah, the standard palette, and then,
Yeah, so most of their colors are just standard colors.
yeah,
And then the exposed steel, like for the staircase around the backside, that's gonna be field painted, right?
It'll be a gray
Okay.
color. It'll be painted gray,
I just wondered if it could match the accent.
yeah.
I think it's a safe bet, yeah, I think that would look great if you guys agree. I mean,
Yeah.
paint it to match the accent.
I don't know what kind of railing you're proposing, but maybe all that could just be the same color.
Okay, so where's our agenda? So, let's see, Gene, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If we receive, an updated drawing, can we approve it outside of an official meeting?
Mr. Mayor?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Technically, no. So what I would recommend is that you give them a conditional approval tonight to keep the ball rolling. I know they're under a very tight time frame with their SBA loan. Give them a conditional approval with some of your recommendations. And then, as long as they come back to Gina and show the conditions, there's no reason for it to come back to you.
okay, I think that's a great idea, keeps everything moving. Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. And everyone is understanding, we have the corner option plus wainscot, and then we have the, what do you want to call it? The center accent, does that make sense? As an option, right? What we talked about tonight. Okay, so, it's my understanding that, can I make a motion or not? It has to come from them.
So you could do a couple different things.
Yeah.
You could say, I would entertain a motion for blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then basically one of them would just have to say, so moved. And so if they do that, then you'd need a second, and then you can have discussion and vote on it. You could also just have one of them make the motion for you.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So, I would entertain a motion for the center option plus wainscot. Colors similar to what's presented in the updated drawing. Or the corner option, if you include this photo to Gina, then we know what the corner option looks like, okay? And then landscaping, trees for buffering around the parking. We talked about painting the stair to match the accent. Talked about double checking the eave overhang, and I would just The only reason I'm bringing up 24 gauge is because I've had bad experiences with 26, but if what you're showing me in the images is 26, then, yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Brett, can I make a suggestion?
yes,
Say, I would entertain a motion for approval with the following conditions.
okay. I would entertain, motion for approval with following conditions. We have corner option plus wainscot, center option plus wainscot, landscape, trees to buffer the parking, review overhangs per LUDC, and stair paint to match wainscot accent.
I'll motion to approve based on those conditions.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you for coming in today, and sure, you know, you came from Rexburg.
Yeah, thanks for traveling all that way.
Rigby, okay. And where are you based out of?
Nordic Ranches.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you for making it to the meeting tonight.
Well, at least it's not winter.
Any,
Thanks for being,
Yeah.
yeah.
it is, well, any other questions?
Yes, are you guys just the city of Alpine, or are you the whole county?
Alpine City only, municipality. Okay, so you have a conditional approval.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing in,
flexible.
Yeah.
and thanks for doing this. It helps a lot, and I think it helped kind of generate
Yep.
some discussion, because it just helps it take it one step further than trying to imagine this versus that, so thank you.
And I'll verify that overhang stuff for you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We can get moving forward on that if you gotta change it.
I'm just curious what's gonna go in here.
So we do, right now, we are mobile automotive repair. We have been doing this for 7, 8, almost 8 years. It's time to move into a shop and have more team members. So the bottom, automotive and marine. So have way more boats coming into this area, which would be nice. And then above are 2 apartments that for employee housing, so. Because we all know it's hard to have housing here. So,
We need the shop in town.
Yeah.
yes. We've been trying, COVID happened, it set us back.
Yeah. Okay, we'll let Gina know if you have any other questions on it, but I think we have enough to go on tonight. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Shall we talk about the next new business item is Alpine Valley RV Resort. It's lot number 37, Snake River Junction. Gina, I have one question on this one. This is, it's not an official review, or is it?
No, it's not. It was,
Okay.
I mean, I think the mayor indicated he thinks that you could go ahead and do an official one if you'd like.
Okay.
If there was some more concerns, I'd probably be hesitant to say that because we told him he was just offering this up as a courtesy.
Okay.
I
Well,
think we could check it off, all the categories, like it
Yeah, and I think it was just more for a good discussion item than.
okay.
meets massing requirements, it meets materiality requirements, I think it meets the landscaping requirements, that was my only question.
That is a good question, and I didn't see a lot of landscaping.
Information, let's see.
But where, yeah, with the buffers, is that what you're talking about? The buffer zone kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, they listed here, there's one spot where there's landscaping area,
Oh, what it is?
where it is located around the building. So they've got the spot for pavers, for concrete, and then for landscaping, but they don't say what it is.
That little green area?
Must
I'm
be.
looking
I just
on,
wondered, you know,
if you look
they
on,
have these 2 roads. I
Yeah.
wonder if there could be any greenery in here. It just all turns to pavement.
oh, along the, like the entry driveway there.
Yeah, there's a little median there.
Yeah, and then they list this as landscaping.
Okay.
I think, is that,
That's what I
the
can-
hash
that's what it
marks are a
looks like
little
for
hard to
me,
read,
yeah.
but
I think you're right.
001.
That looks like concrete too.
Oh, does it? I can't tell.
In this little thing, I think it looks like landscaping to
I
me.
think so too. And
Yeah.
then here, because the concrete.
Landscaping up next to the building, it has these short dashed lines,
Yeah,
Oh, is it?
and that's the landscape. And then this is more of the dots, which
Oh,
is.
it's hard to tell.
and they've labeled
Okay.
both of them with the same name. You see, both graphics have the same name.
Oh,
But on this one, you can see the green here.
Only here
Yeah.
and there, not here.
but that's green.
But that's green and
Yeah,
that's green.
exactly. Maybe it does go all the way.
Oh, you're right. It starts, it probably is supposed to, but regardless, we're only talking about this building. Is this a separate lot?
It is.
Okay. Well,
It's a nice building.
yeah, they put a lot of effort into it.
So in the future, maybe looking for that in the plan sets when they turn them in.
Yep, I mean, we could, if we want to send them a gesture that says, we looked at your building, we could pass a motion for the building only, but we're not really looking the site plan, because I feel like that would open a discussion that's not really,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
We don't have, there's no, they're not officially needing an approval.
Right. Yeah, no, they don't.
Okay,
But we could say, just consider landscaping and planting around the
Some
building
plants, some planting.
to soften the building.
So we just need to work with that.
They're gonna want that anyway if it's a place to hang out.
yeah, I think they have, I think this is all concrete around the whole thing, except for pavers, right? And then they've got some green here and there, but but they don't have parking here. Really, they have staging. It's all back here on a different lot.
So do you come in here and check in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just they're pulling through to check in, and then they'll go, park wherever their RV spot is. And that's why they had the two different lanes, so they could
Oh,
accommodate
so
the traffic.
this is two-way, and then this is just coming in,
Yep.
checking in, yeah.
And then, yeah, I just saw.
I've had a lot of discussions
People are gonna
with
wanna
Bud
get
about
out.
this.
Yep,
Well, it's a nice building.
Yeah, I think the building itself definitely meets all of the,
Yeah.
Yep.
the only question would be maybe some trees for buffering, but.
I mean, I would just consider it for the people who are hanging out
Shade,
right here, some kind of.
even if they're potted, I mean,
some
honestly.
growies, yeah, planting.
For
They're
sure.
probably wanting as little maintenance as possible. And they planted a ton of trees for the,
There's a ton of
RV
trees
parks
in the RV park. Yeah.
yep, well, I would entertain a motion. Either one of you want to, put something on the record for them? It's more about just saying, hey, nice presentation, thank you for meeting the code that you weren't designed to, you did it on your own, so.
yeah, I'd make a motion to approve based on acceptable massing, materiality. We would just encourage more landscaping. I don't want to open up a can of worms, but. Or consider more planting around the building.
I'll second that with the consider more planting around the building.
Okay, I have a motion for Lodge for Alpine Valley RV Resort to approve the building as submitted, noting that this is an unofficial submittal, but we are reviewing it and letting them know that their building meets the design guidelines. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do we have? Okay, so
I'd say
we,
it, yeah, it meets the requirements for public space, composition, massing. Materials, mostly landscaping.
All right, well, they put together a nice submittal, and
Definitely.
we do not have any tabled items, correspondence, discussion items. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting unless there's any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay. A motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:06.